Different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden. This is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
An early test for this defense. Here we go on 3rd and inches. They'll try and run for it with Sanders. And he's able to get the first before he's taken down at the 36.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. He played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon, and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
And it looks like we've got a dime set here defensively. 6 DBs in the game.
From the gun, it's Favre.
And that is incomplete. Not the opening possession they were looking for, especially on the road.
No doubt about it, because they wanted to come out and establish a little momentum right away. But now bringing up a 4th down, an empty possession, not what they were seeking.
They'll score that a 36-yard punt, and the AFC will take over 1st and 10.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36-16-2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
So on the other side of the field now, it's 1st and 10 as they've got things rolling on this drive. On play action, now Brady. And incomplete on the deep ball.
Now, Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958. It was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp. Actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Norm Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And was there during that time. I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy that could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
The NFC with the football here to begin the 2nd quarter. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. They've been playing the field position game thus far. No score, 2nd quarter as they come up on 1st and 10. Now the first play of the drive there is incomplete.
But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best.
And he fires one that's intercepted. Rod Woodson with a pick, and he is going to score. It's a pick six and an AFC touchdown. So a pick six there out of the nickel package. They went with 5 DBs.
Almost becoming the base package in the NFL is the nickel. Hard to throw against. That was demonstrated one more time. A pick six going the other way.
Now Adam Vinatieri for the point after. And he's got it to make it 7-0 AFC. A heck of a play there defensively, getting the interception, navigating his way into the end zone for the touchdown. So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick six, and now the kick is away. And a short kick taken at about the 16. And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. With the NFC offense coming out here, you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game, then he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game. But it certainly took too long to set up play action. That gave the pass rush time to get home for its first sack of the game. For their sake, they may start to think about the quick game and leave play action alone for a little while.
Now following the sack, they'll look to make amends on a 2nd down and 17.
Throwing is far.
Got a man. It's Randy Moss, complete.
Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times, and he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the man Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuszak, Otis Siskla, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
From the 32 now, here's 1st and 10. They start the drive with a give to Allen. And he'll get this one up to about the 39 here. Give him 7 yards on the carry, and it will take us to the 2-minute warning.
Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure you stick around for that. Again, coming up at halftime.
That 2nd down play nets a -4.
Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. There might be a divisional round exit That's the one that bothered him most of all. Three River Stadium, December 1972. Yes, the Immaculate Reception game. Franco Harris grabbing the ball that was deflected. Almost at his shoe tops, he picked it up and took it in for a game-winning score to give the Steelers a 13-7 victory. And partner, anyone who loves black and silver still doesn't believe that ball hit anyone in black and silver that day, and that play should never have counted.
So 7 yards from the first down here as they come up to the line of scrimmage. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as they get the stoppage with a little over 50 seconds to go in the first half. They'll go for it. It's Brady. And he's brought down. Can't do anything with a football. It's a sack and a turnover on downs. For a real head-scratcher there. And the NFC is going to get the football back in excellent field position. On first down, Favre. And this one is going to be off the mark, too far out in front. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together. That was 1976. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football. And luckily, one of his teammates able to fall on it, so the NFC will hang on to the football. So danger averted for the moment, but now here's a 3rd and long. To throw is Favre. Under pressure, they got him again. Javon Curse. He's the one to get him this time, and back-to-back sacks brings up 4th down. But he continues, Charles, to be under constant pressure, and these sacks, they're starting to pile up.
And if they want to have a realistic chance in this one, they've got to change their blocking assignments. They've got to do a better job to keep him upright. If he's going to be on the deck constantly, they've got no chance to win this game.
So on 4th down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. And the kick's away as he angles this one for the sideline. This one will sail out of bounds. It'll depend on the spot here. And the side judge says that went out at the 7-yard line.
Let's go old school there. That's absolutely a great coffin corner punt. Someone's put some time in working on that, hasn't it?
Seems like every year these guys get better and better. It's amazing how they can command that football through the air.
Yeah, they used to actually practice with hula hoops where they place them and try and put them.
So we're at halftime with a John Madden Legacy game, and now we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley. We now proceed to the start of the second half. The AFC going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Taking it about the 1. A lane opens here. He's past the 30. The offense for the AFC set to go now. And they've got the lead. CD, what do you think the message was at halftime?
I don't think the message was too drastic, I think, at the half, or that they need to change things too much. I do think the offensive line could play a little bit better. I think they'll try and help them out more. They'll probably keep a tight end in a few more times and maybe add a running back to the formation to pick up those pass rushers, because they probably allowed a few too many sacks for comfort in the first half.
Meanwhile, Brady's throw into the hands of Gonzalez here. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, it was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
They'll try a toss here to Bettis.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went out and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Looks to me like maybe there's a little attrition setting in with this drive, because when you see that type of a run, I get the feeling the defense gets a little bit tired.
And that's the last thing they need, especially when they look up at the scoreboard. Now a throw to the end zone on first down, but it winds up incomplete. Down this close to the goal line, first down. Surprised that wasn't a run?
I am, and you know I'm old school. I want to run the ball on first down in this situation, because second down, that gives me an option of running play action, maybe throwing it.
Here's Allen. And he'll be stopped about a yard shy of the goal line after a pickup of about 3. And now prior to this 3rd and 1, we're going to get a timeout here. It's just their first, so 2 remaining as they burn one here in this 3rd quarter. They try to get one more in here before the quarter breaks. They'll run. This is Allen. And this time he is in. Marcus Allen punching it in from a yard away. And the AFC is in for 6. That seemed pretty ideal there for the offense, Charles. You take a little bit of time off the clock here in the 3rd quarter, decent length drive, and you pad your lead as well at the end of it.
And what it does is let you feel like you're in control of this game, even more so than a 2-touchdown lead, right? Because you have taken that time off, as you noted, which means they couldn't get you off the field. You ran your playbook the way you wanted to, and you gave your defense some rest. What a big-time drive in that situation.
Vinatieri able to tack on the PAT, and that'll make the score 14-0. A 10-play drive that time, and it ends with a 1-yard touchdown run. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. And Hester content to hold on to this one and bring it out to the 25. Now this will probably be the last play of the quarter. 1st and 10, it's Favre. And that one not to be. It's incomplete. So they couldn't hook up as time has now run out on this 3rd quarter of play. 3 quarters complete now in the John Madden legacy game from Oakland. It's the AFC on top. And we're back to the Coliseum after this. An incomplete pass leads to 2nd and 10 from the 25. Favre. Over the middle, that's hauled in by Cup. And they'll get it up just short of the 45 at the 44. 19 yards there on the catch and run. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
So on the other side of the field now, it's 1st and 10 as they've got things rolling on this drive.
Here's Favre to throw. A quick throw there, going to be batted away and incomplete. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told him, call me when it's 11 on 11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies.
And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down.
61 yards rushing now on 8 carries for him so far. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
So 2nd and 9, and you'd have to figure just about all 11 probably crashing the line here. They stay on the ground with Allen. And down inside the 35, he goes to the 32-yard line. And now with 1:52 to go, we get another pause in the action. A timeout here defensively.
They'll come to the line, needing only 2 yards to gain the first here.
And they'll let their fullback try and push the pile. And he's able to pick up the first down here before he goes down at the 26.
Again, it's Ricard, the fullback.
And he is swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage.
You think about John Madden in his retirement years post-broadcasting. He was about as active as most people are in their working years. I mean, he continued to play a key role on the NFL's competition committee. He was available to a wide range of people as a tutor, as a mentor. He continued to teach the game of football to all who would listen. And Charles, as you and I know, he even continued to provide input, a lot of input on the Madden video game.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks that design and build this game certainly look forward to their yearly visits out to the Madden compound that he had out in the East Bend. They pitch the new aspects of each year's game to him, get his feedback, and then get to sit back and spend 6 hours with him on a Sunday, watching football and listening to him tell stories and talk even more ball. It had to be an incredible experience for all involved.
Now a carry for Allen. And he'll be brought down here at the 3-yard line. It's a gain of 7 on the ground. 2nd down coming up. Up the middle they run with Bettis. And he is into the end zone for an AFC touchdown. Jerome Bettis, a 3-yard touchdown run. And the AFC is in for 6.
Is it okay if I break one of our rules, partner, which is to never call a game over until it's over? Because this certainly feels like it's over after that drive.
Yeah, that was spirit-crushing, wasn't it? And now you just kind of felt the air go out the balloon.
Yeah, they were fighting so hard to stay in there, and they knew they had to stop them on that drive. But when they were unable to, I think you're exactly right. You could see them sag on their sideline, and I think this one might
just be over.
And it's no good. No, he misses the extra point, and our score stays right where it is. Now he's back out there to boom this one away, maybe with some frustration after the PAT miss. Taken at the 15, a short kick. And out a little across the 25 to the 27. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they try to find Cup, but it's intercepted. Steve Atwater with a pick, and they will take over at the 29-yard line. How about one last great play defensively, and that should, for all intents and purposes, finish off this shutout.
That's as good a defensive performance as we've seen in a long, long time. And I know as a team they will celebrate, but I will guarantee you the defensive guys, they'll get together somewhere and have their own private celebration. A shutout, that's something to be cherished.
The 22 here.
96 yards rushing for him now as he has been tremendous all day long.
Now the AFC going to take a timeout. It's their second. That'll leave them with just one remaining in this fourth quarter of play.
Working with a 2nd and 3.
Brady going to throw here. He finds his man, complete. It's Gonzalez. And all the way down inside the 5 to the 4. And now we're going to get a timeout. Somewhat pointlessly called with 3 seconds to go in a game that's already been decided. Well, they probably don't need to run a play here, but you wonder if they're going to be able to resist on 1st and goal. They'll run with Allen. And he'll be taken down here, and that is how this one...
So it's a win here for the AFC on an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. Before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.
Time to decide how you're going to make your Madden NFL 23 debut. You could put yourself back on the game's biggest stage and raise that Lombardi in Super Bowl 56. Head on over to the main menu and see the full array of options you've got to work with at Madden NFL 23.